dose of heavy metal writing inspiration. For the next few videos I make, I'm going to be answering questions writers have posted for me on the Rage Against the Manuscript Facebook group. This question today was all about what to do when you're launching your first book. Not just book one in a series, but your first ever for realsies book. This is going to be super insanely general advice because so much of planning a book launch depends on the genre of the book and the audience that book's aimed for. The way you launch a self-help book for squirrels, for instance, is going to be vastly different from your paranormal romance about squirrel shapeshifters who fall in love, or from your squirrel haiku poetry books. Just as an example. Even though they all contain squirrels, they're going to have completely different launch plans. So, I'm just going to throw some ideas at you, and some of them are going to be squirrely, and some of them are not going to be squirrely, and I'm going to tell you what I would do if I was you. But the main thing that I want you to remember is that launching a book is going to be a bit stressful and a bit nail-biting, but it should also be heaps of fun. You don't have to do everything, and you don't have to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. You won't fuck up your book for the rest of its shelf life if the launch is completely balked. Trust me, I know this. I have had many a balked launch in my career, and I am still a multi-six-figure author. So, you're going to be fine. I figure, if you're launching your first book, you probably don't have a ton of money to play with, but you are willing to dedicate some time. As you get bigger, you can afford to pay people to do some of the things for you that you might now do yourself. But right now, what I'm going to give you are mostly free things that you can do to give your book the biggest chance of success. First of all, I would make sure that I know my audience, and I would make sure that my book is ready to meet. This means that I've done my research, I know which squirrels read self-help books, and which trees they hang out in. I know their favourite kind of books, I know do they read on their Kindles or do they read paperbacks. These are all super important questions that impact how you conduct your launch. There's no point hosting a big squirrel party in the middle of the forest and giving out free nuts for all if all your squirrel readers are at home snuggled into bed reading on teeny tiny iPhones. Yes? I agree. Second, I'd make a plan a few months out from your launch. Decide what you're going to do and start figuring out how to do it. If you want graphics, then you're going to need to start making them. For my graphics for launching, I use Canva, and I find it quite easy to, get a really professional look in graphics because of the templates that Canva offers. So Canva's free, but sometimes you have to pay if you want to use more advanced photos and things like that. Third, I get the basics right first. This means making sure you've got an awesome blurb and that your book is up on pre-order if you're going to be doing that. I'd make sure that you've got your website sorted, that you've secured your social media accounts. I'd be researching your categories and your keywords and all that kind of jazz. I would just get the whole book package sorted first. Next, fourthly, I would study the launches of other authors in my genre. If you're in Facebook groups where authors post about their launches, it's quite easy to see what they're doing. If you write squirrel poetry, then I would go along to someone else's squirrel poetry book launch and I would see what they're doing and how it's done and what people who read squirrel poetry expect. Assuming that you're doing all of these things, here is a list of some ideas that you can try for your launch. You do not have to do all of them, but a combination of some that appeal will give you a really fun and hopefully really successful launch. Number 1, you could release a prequel to your squirrel romance a couple of months early on a site like BookFunnel, and you could then use BookFunnel promos to compile a list of potential readers who are interested in reading more. Then, on launch day, you've got a few people to alert with your own newsletter, and that should give you a little bit of momentum to start with. Number 2, you could find Facebook groups or online forums where squirrel readers hang out. Don't just pimp your book out in these places. I would chat to people, I would ask questions. People love talking about themselves, so I would ask for book recs, I would ask them about their lives, I would ask them about things they've recently read and what they enjoyed and what they didn't. I would answer every single reply that people give you, and I would just start getting your name out there and getting people used to seeing you in the squirrel community. I think that this should be a really easy thing to do, because my guess is you're probably writing in a genre that you also love to read in, and so you're excited about it and you're excited to talk to other people that also enjoy this genre. Number 3, I like to run competitions during my launch. The closer the competition is themed to my book release, the better they usually do. So what I do is I like to compile like gifts from characters. So if I have a reverse harem book and I've got a heroine and then she's got 3 or 5 boyfriends, I like to give like a personal gift from the heroine and then from each of the boyfriends that kind of fits their personality, and I put that all together in a pack and I photograph it really nicely and I put that on an app called a program called King Sumo, which is really great for doing giveaways. Other things that really work really well are kind of book themed items like candles that are kind of book themed, or sometimes I've done socks, other stuff that fits your genre. So like if you're doing your paranormal squirrel romance, maybe there's a tarot deck that would kind of go with that, because those things sort of go together a bit. And the other thing that works really well is paperbacks, because a lot of us, especially in certain genres where people are reading more on Kindle, a lot of us aren't buying paperbacks anymore, and so getting a paperback is quite special. So I do paperbacks from myself, or sometimes I'll do them from other authors in my genre, like really popular books at the time, and people are like, oh, I want to win that book, and then they might also win a paperback of my book, and it helps to get people's attention on my less popular things. So swag is also a good idea. If you've got like an author branding, you can put your branding on different items. It's a really good idea, but this is not the time to be spending tons of money on this kind of thing. What I do, I get my logos and sort of different items that I've had created printed on stickers and postcards and mouse pads and other things at vistaprint.com, which is like a super cheap online printing place. And that's a really cost-effective way of getting a few swag items that you can put in these kind of things. As I said, I run all of my giveaways through King Sumo, and this gives you a specific URL for your giveaway, and then you can give people extra entries into a giveaway if they do certain things. So like if they join your newsletter, or if they follow you on social media, all kinds of things. I sometimes get them to watch a trailer for this video trailer for the series, or follow me on BookBub, or all these different kind of things. And then that helps people spread the word, and also helps you to capture those entrants, those competition entrants, so that you can tell them about your book in the future. Number 4, social media content. If you're going to use social media, which you do not have to do, don't just make one single post about your book and be done with it. Because of the way social media works, not everyone who follows you is going to see those posts, but the more often you post, and most importantly, the more often people interact with your posts, the more people are going to see and they're going to know about your book and they're going to be excited about it. You could post teasers, you can post testimonials from squirrels who found your self-help book really useful. You could post cute pictures of squirrel babies, you could post nut recipes, anything that kind of links to your book in some way. Try and get people talking, try and ask them questions. One thing I like to do is make quote squares for Instagram, just with funny kind of pithy quotes from my characters, and I use them as a jumping off point to make silly discussions. Also really like to talk about behind the scenes stuff in my books. So for example, I'm writing a book where one of the characters has faked their own death. So I have been researching all about how to fake your own death and the death faking industry and all this crazy stuff. And so I have this whole head full of random fake death facts. And so I'm going to be sharing those all over social media, teaching people how to fake their own deaths so that they then read my book where someone fakes their own death. It's going to be strange. But yes. So number 5, on Facebook, just another note that video content gets the highest engagement provided that content comes directly from Facebook and video content is shown to more people. One thing I love to do is I really love to do live Facebook feed video on my launch day. So what I do is I set up my laptop in my office and I pour myself a glass of absinthe and I do a little toast to my readers, like cheers, another book finished. Hope you guys love it. And then I'll usually give away some stuff, I will answer questions, I talk about my book and about writing it, and I might have like random facts about the book, like maybe about why one character's named a certain thing, or the story behind a dedication in the book, or, you know, why I've chosen a particular location, or all these kind of things. So that's a really cool idea, just to kind of like drive engagement on social media. Number 6, if you're going to do ads for a new release, I recommend, and you want to spend some money on this, I recommend that what you should look at first is focus on, if your book's on Amazon, to focus on Amazon Marketing Services ads, AMS ads, that promote your book to similar books in your genre in order to get those books into your author boards and to get your book into their author boards. You'll notice on an Amazon page underneath where it talks about the series, talks about the book, talks about the series the book is in, and then it will say something like customers who bought this book also bought these, and then it will show you some books. So that's also boards, and this is Amazon's recommendation engine. And the more tightly branded your also boards are, the more Amazon knows exactly who the reader of your book is and exactly how to promote it to more of those readers. What I'm talking about here is finding authors and who have really recent releases or really popular books that are a super close fit to your book, so like exactly the same readers. And the tighter you can get with this, the better. Then use the AMS ads to target those books. And another thing you can do is also recommend those books to your, you know, any current followers that you have, in the hopes that they buy your book and then they also buy those books, and then that helps you to get both those, to get in those also boards. So this is more of an advanced technique, and it works really well with authors like me. And you may find you're not really sure what you're doing here, but it's a good time to kind of start experimenting, but this is only if you want to be running ads at the moment. Number 7, if an in-person event works in your genre, and only if it works, then I would go and do it. Make sure that you have a way for readers to purchase books at the events. This sounds like a total no-brainer, but I have been to author releases where there's no copies of the book on sale, or there's copies of the book on a table, but there's no way to actually like buy them. It's not really obvious. Don't do that. Be smart. Make it really easy for readers to purchase books. Get a friend to man the table with all the books, so that you're free to kind of answer people's questions and sign books and talk and schmooze and just do the thing. So don't be the person who's actually doing the selling. Most people that come along to these in-person author launches are going to be your family or your friends, or like people in your author circle, unless you make it more of an event that is going to interest other people. So just having a book launch isn't often enough to interest outside people. But what you could do is you could get another couple of like squirrel experts to come and talk about different aspects of squirrel health and wellness, and then you're creating like a, you know, event for squirrely enthusiasts, and then, you know, then it's a thing that outside people may be interested in. You can have these kind of in-person events in bookstores, but there's usually a flat fee for using a bookstore for an event, and they'll put on the food and they'll make sure that they've got enough copies of your book, so you know, they'll take care of the sales aspects. So that's really good, but there is a fee involved, and you may find that fee quite high. Because you're an indie author and you're dealing with print books in this case, you may find it really tough to make back the money on self-published books after the bookstore's taken their cut. So just consider if this is the best use of your money. But I'd like to note that another thing that you should consider is that there should be food, and, you know, if you can, there should also be some booze. That's mostly just a personal thing, because when I go to a book launch, I kind of really want to drink, but I definitely want some food, and it should definitely be tasty food, especially if it's for a cookbook. Number 8, remember that people want to hear about your book, especially if they've joined your social media or your newsletter. So don't be shy. Don't think, oh, you know, I'm emailing them too much. During a launch, it's sort of practically impossible to talk about your book too much to people who are interested. You can definitely annoy people who aren't interested, but you can't talk about it too much to people who are interested. So just remember that. People want to know about the book, so don't be shy. Number 9, build relationships with other authors. This is not something that you can really do the week of your launch, but it is something that you can do over weeks and months before your launch, and then when you launch, you've got support. So what will happen is that they'll launch books, and then you can support their launches by sharing their content and going onto their Facebook pages and liking all their stuff and talking about it so that their readers see it more. And then, you know, when they see that that you're pretty cool, then they're going to be able to support you as well. I have author friends where we send each other's books out to our newsletters, and we post giveaways and release announcements in each other's Facebook groups, and we just kind of be all excited when our friends have a release. And let me tell you, it's really lovely, and it's, I think, a big part of why being self-published is so amazing, because it feels like this whole wonderful supportive community. Number 10. Hunt out reviews. Reviews are something that is going to really help sell your book, not just in the launch month, but in the future as well. There are very, very specific rules for reviews on platforms like Amazon, and you don't want to be falling foul of them. You can't pay or incentivize people to leave you a good review. So this means that you can't pay a reviewer to review, or you can't give them a prize if they review, and you can't ask them for evidence that they've reviewed in order to go in the draw to win a prize, or you can't tell them, leave me a good review and I'll do this for you. You can't, nothing like that. So you'll see authors doing this on Facebook a lot. I'm having a review competition, write a review and put a screenshot and you'll go in the draw to win this thing. It's a very not good thing to do. Just because they're getting away with it now doesn't mean they're going to get away with it in the future, and I would not be trying to get away with it if I were you. What you are allowed to do is have an ARC team. So an ARC is an advanced reader copy. And what your ARC team is, or your ARC team is a team of fans who get an early copy of your book, an advanced reader copy, if you will. Then they read it, and then during your launch week, they're going to be leaving their reviews, basically as soon as your book comes out. Because these guys are already fans, the reviews are usually going to be positive, but you're not allowed to police what they review and how. So you're not allowed to tell them you've got to leave a positive review. Just tell them to review the books truthfully and see how they go. Now, your ARC readers also have to reveal in the review that they've received an ARC copy and that they're voluntarily leaving a review. Try not to use words like in exchange for leaving a review, because that goes back to that original, not allowed to do this, where you're not allowed to be receiving kind of gifts and rewards and prizes for doing reviews. So try not to use in exchange for, but get your readers to say that they've received an ARC copy and they're leaving this review voluntarily. Where do you get ARC readers from? Well, the first place to look is friends or family who read in your genre and who are really interested. But the best place to get them is from sort of anyone who has already signed up for your newsletter. I built my original ARC team through my newsletter. I had a sequence where people would join the newsletter, and then the second email they got like a welcome email and like, here, have a free story, and then the next email said, would you like to get my books for free for being on the review team? And then it would have a sign up to be on the review team, and I got like 100 people signed up, and then I closed it off, and I've basically never opened it since. A lot of people will also go into Facebook fan groups of a certain genre, and they'll say, hey, look, I've written this Squirrel paranormal romance, and I'm going to give away 20 ARC copies to readers who are interested, and it's here's the blurb and this is what it's about, and you put up a Google form and people will sign up, and that's a really great way to get people as well. So another thing you're allowed to do is you're also allowed to pay a service to distribute ARC copies to readers for you. So there are lots of these kind of services around in different genres where they have lists of readers who are interested in getting ARC copies and doing early reviews, and this, in exchange for a fee, the service will promote your book to those readers. So you're not paying a fee to reviewers to read your reviews, you're basically paying for a service to get you in front of reviewers, but those reviewers can decide whether they want to review your book or not, and they can decide what they want to give the book or not. They're not incentivized. When you use services like this, you're going to get more of a mix of star ratings than from your ARC team, because with your own ARC team, you're pretty much guaranteeing that most of the reviewers are going to be diehard fans of yours, and so they're probably going to give pretty high reviews. But with a service, you don't know whether they're going to be fans or not, so you probably get a few more, like 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 stars, but they're still really great. But it will still increase your review numbers. So if that's important to you, then it's really good. It's another thing you might want to consider doing. Sometimes you will hear people talk about, Amazon won't promote your book until you get 20 reviews or 50 reviews or 100 reviews or whatever, and I just want to say that that's complete bullshit. So don't listen to anyone that says anything like that. There's no like cut off for reviews where suddenly it becomes really beneficial, but it's just like a social proof thing. When people look at a book and they see that it's got like 4 stars or above in reviews, they think, oh, well, you know, other people thought this book was great, so it's less of a risk for me to buy this book and read it. And the less risky things are for readers, the more they're gonna buy them, and that's what we want. I've tried to give you ideas for things that we don't have to spend any money. Generally speaking, you have to spend a little bit of money in order to have a successful book launch, but it doesn't have to be much. But I think if you're going to spend money, the most important places to spend it are having a really beautiful on-genre, on-trend cover for your book. I think that's absolutely the most important. And also, you know, having really solid editing for the book. You can do these things yourself, and you can find ways to do them where it doesn't cost you anything. But if you're going to spend money, that's where I'd spend money. And the second place where I would spend money is, as I've said, I'd consider ads to target the also boughts on Amazon. And the third thing that I would consider, just talk about this quite quickly, is super targeted, and that's the key, super targeted online advertising. So I'm going to give you an example of this. My friend Bree and we did this book a few years ago. It was 2018 and it came out 2019. So this is a children's picture book, and it's called Only Freaks Turn Things into Bones, and it's about this little Grim Reaper. His name's Little Grim, and he gets bullied because he is a Grim Reaper, and every time he touches something it turns into bones. The book is all about what to do if you're bullied, and I think it's got a really important message. But anyway, so we did this, and we did a Kickstarter for it, and then the book launched, and not the problem, because the Kickstarter was really successful, but the thing was that most of our hardcore readers already had a copy of the book because they got it through the Kickstarter. So when we proper launch, we wanted to introduce it to new readers. So one of the things that we did was we booked advertising on a blog that targets super kind of gothy people, but the target audience is like slightly older, so it's not like teenagers who are buying like makeup and cheap gothy clothing and shoes and stuff like that. It's like slightly older readers. And so what we were hoping is we'd get in touch with these kind of older readers who like things that are a bit freaky. They don't think like having a Grim Reaper in a kid's book is like a bad thing, and they've got a bit of disposable income, and possibly they have kids, or very likely they know people that have kids. And one of the things about publishing children's picture books to know is that they're very often purchased not by people that don't have kids or who aren't purchasing for their own kids, but for gifts. So this is a big thing about this book, is that largely it's given away as gifts. We purchased this paid ad on the blog, and you often think about blog advertising, blogs are kind of dead, that do they still really work? Well, we sold 85 copies of the book to readers on this blog, which is amazing. Because this book came out from a small press publisher, we didn't make as much, we don't make as much money because we take significantly less of the royalties. If we'd self-published this book and we'd run that ad, we would have made a lot of money, but because we had significantly less of the royalties, we didn't really break even, but we did sell a lot of copies, so that's important to think about. There are lots of other things, big and small, that you can do to help launch a release, but these are some of the best ones just to start you off. I go over releases and launching in exhaustive detail in my book, How to Rock Self-Publishing, and in my course, which is also called How to Rock Self-Publishing. It's got an entire module just on launching. My course, by the way, is currently accepting enrollments right now until the 10th of April. I'm so excited about it, and I really hope you will come along and join us. The course, How to Rock Self-Publishing, runs for 12 weeks, and it is everything you need to know, not just about the nuts and bolts of how to get a book from a random collection of thoughts on paper into an actual self-published book that you can hold in your hands, but also about how to be successful as a self-publisher. I believe that success is different for every single person, and I really hate giving hard rules like, do this or you will fail, follow me into the fires of Mordor, kind of thing. But what I do is show you how to put your books in the best possible position to be successful according to your own measure of success. So that's my jam. The course is going to be so much fun, and it's going to be uplifting and inspiring, which is what I think we all need right now. So every week on a Friday, if you're a student in the course, you're going to be getting a content drop. That content drop includes like videos, audio, worksheets, booklets, checklists, so many things. You're also going to be getting a bonus author interview each week I've got some amazing people who've been lined up to do interviews. Brian Cohen, Alessandra Torre, Rachel Heron, Gala freaking Darling, for God's sakes. They are all going to be talking about how you can rock self-publishing. You can leave comments on the course platform, and you can talk to other authors, and you can get feedback from me. I'm going to be there answering questions, just like chatting and doing all the stuff. And there's also like a separate feedback section, so you can tell me what you want to see, and I can, see if I can do it. The price of the course is super low at the moment because this is the first time I've ever done anything like this before, and also because I know everyone is kind of scrambling and hurting because of coronavirus, and I just wanted to make sure that if you wanted to do it, that you could get in. So I think it's really the perfect thing right now if you're stuck at home and things are feeling uncertain and you just want to learn something new and like improve your self-publishing and just like feel like really excited about your writing again. I think it's really important to have something in your life that's good right now, and just to be in contact with other writers and like feel like you've got a tribe and all the good stuff, all the feel goods. So the course has already started. People are getting their first content right now, and so far it's really positive. But I've left enrollment open until the 10th of April, and I've introduced 20 new seats because we had nearly sold out. So I wanted to give you time, just because I know that things are tough. If you want to join the course, you can click in the link under the video and join up. The course is usually $497 US, but I put it on sale for $197, or you can pay in 2 monthly payments of $99 if you need to be able to spread out the cost. Really hope you get on it and you come and join the course and you come and hang out. I think it's going to be hella uplifting and you're going to learn heaps. If you want to know more, or you've got questions about how to launch your squirrel or your non-squirrel related books, feel free to click the link or ask questions in the comments. Peace out, and happy squirreling. Happy writing.